What happens when Milhouse becomes a tragic hero? He'll stand under a tree with his pockets in. His classmates will look at him in amazement, and Bart would help him out. The saddened Milhouse. Even Nelson wouldn't hit him. Even Lisa would shake his hand. Everyone would sit around him at dinner. Bart had to eat alone. Even Ralph wouldn't sit next to him.
Call me if you need to talk.
Nelson will invite House to get off the car. House's refusal once again amazed the whole class, and Bart couldn't get the attention of his classmates when he danced. Back at home, Marge danced like Bart. Bart saw his approval ratings continue to drop. He called House's uncle. He came to the airport to pick up Zach. He didn't realize that Zach had flown in on his own. Bart led him to House. With Zach's persuasion, House embraced him. Now, House flies a plane to and from school. The plane exploded and they laughed. Bart was very disappointed to see this scene. Skinner tells everyone House is leaving Springfield to travel with Zach. Bart looks at House, who's about to leave on a long trip. He pulled the rope and decided to go with Hoss. Bart climbed into a hot air balloon. The balloon crashed into House's parents' homemade airplane. It started when House's parents fell into the ocean on their honeymoon. The Navy came to the Simpsons' house. House learned of his parents' disappearance. An unsuspecting Bart ran a hose. What happens when Homer and Burns team up to climb a snowy mountain? Burns would pull out a snowmobile that he had prepared ahead of time. They rode the snowmobiles to the cabin. Burns opened the gas cylinder. They lounged in the cabin and drank change to a more comfortable posture. Homer also showed Burns how to retrieve items from a distance. The clinking of their glasses, it shook the cabin and caused an avalanche. They hid under the table. Homer opens the door and the snow pours in. Then he opened the window. They're trapped in the cabin by the avalanche. Homer started to save himself by digging a tunnel through the snow. Soon they were able to tunnel through the snow. They high-fived and celebrated. When the avalanche started again, they rolled back into the cabin, hiding under a table. And when they talk, it triggers an avalanche. They start complaining to each other. They got bored and built a snowman in the cabin. They even undressed the snowman. They sit in the cabin and look at each other angrily. Then Homer and Burns got into a fight in the cabin. Burns smashes the gas tank. The cabin bursts through the snow. And with the power of the exploding gas cans, the cabin went down the mountain. The gas burned out at the critical moment. The two men were rescued. Burns is back in the race. Everyone rushed into the cabin. Lenny, the last one in, was fired. Do you know how the killer assassinated Homer? She put a cobra in Homer's cereal box. Homer picked up the cobra and smashed it towards the refrigerator. Before Homer's concert, the sheriff will set up a tight security system. The theater will be filled with balloons disguised as Homer. The police will break the crystal lights so Homer can sing while lying down. The family will search the movie theater for the killer. Maggie saw Julia aiming a poisoned blowgun at Homer. She tells the sheriff right away. The sheriff puts on his hat and goes into action. Julia takes off her wig, and the sheriff falls off the stage. Marge jumps off the stage, blocks Julia's blowgun with his instrument. Julia is knocked down by the weapon. Snipers keep shooting at Julia, but none of them hit Julia. Finally, the chandelier falls and hits Julia. It all started when Homer was surrounded by fanatics. A motorcycle suddenly appeared. He parks the motorcycle in front of Homer. Julia and the Homer couple escape from the frenzy of fans.
That's right, I'm a woman.
Like this. Maggie made her coffee. Turns out Julia was a big Homer fan too. She'd wear Marge's scarf and Marge's clothes. Lying in Homer's bed, Homer threw her out, so Julia started her assassination program.